From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Well, good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, he says a federal investment in higher education is an investment in Nevada's and this nation's economy. We'll find out what a top Nevada education official says must be done in Washington to help universities provide educations that set up students and states for success. And my special guest today for this exclusive Eye on Washington one-on-one is Dr. Marc Johnson, the president of the University of Nevada, Reno. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Education and economy are inseparable. Societies and even segments of societies where higher education is not strong tend to have poor economies and economic outlooks. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll tell you about the tie between a college degree and a successful future. We'll learn what my guest believes are the top two federal issues for higher education and why they're crucial to student success. And we'll share his own top focus for UNR in the years ahead. Higher education is the gateway to financial success in life. According to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, college graduates earn as much as 65% more than those with only a high school education. In fact, Pew Research reported in February of this year that there is a rising cost of not going to college. The report says that on virtually every measure of economic well-being and career attainment, from personal earnings to job satisfaction, young college graduates outperform their peers with less education. But it's more than that. There are physical and mental health benefits to that degree. The website GetRichSlowly.org has a piece on the value of an education, and just some of the listed benefits are longer lifespans, greater economic stability and security, more prestigious employment and greater job satisfaction, better access to health care, more self-confidence, and too much more than I can get to here, Dr. Johnson. First of all, I want to welcome you to Eye on Washington. And yeah, we have a lot to get to today, but I want to start with just kind of the big benefits, the tie between this degree and your success in life. No one needs to tell a top official like yourself of the value of a college education. But I'm guessing that for you, student enrollment is more than tuition into coffers. It's educating people who are going to contribute to society and their economy, isn't it?
Absolutely. The whole idea of having a college education is to raise the level of human capital for the nation and for each individual. So the values of higher education are twofold. First, to the individual, it puts a person in a position for all the characteristics you just mentioned. It makes them eligible for higher level income jobs. It gives them greater job stability. If you look at Bureau of Labor Statistics, for example, even during the worst of times in the last 5 years, the rate of unemployment for those with bachelor's degrees and higher degrees was really quite low. It was the unskilled that really got laid off during the difficult times. So in terms of the individual, it pays to get an education, and more education is better, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And secondly, there's a public benefit of raising human capital. If you go clear back to 1862 with passage of the Morrill Act, which created the land-grant universities, as the United States was developing with new states, the Land-Grant Act was passed, which gave every state a land-grant university, and that established the policy that higher education is a pillar of economic and social development for westward expansion and even economic development today.
With the changes in just technology alone, for instance, the difference between having a degree in, say, my granddad's day or even 20 years ago, there's almost no comparison, is there?
Very little comparison to where we were.
To get the best jobs, to get to compete in society.
That's correct, and that's why colleges have continually innovated to teach students not only the knowledge and the principles, but also the tools of learning.
You know, the gap is really widening between the economic difference between a degree and no degree. U.S. News and World Report reported just this last February that it's $45,000 annual average salary for a college grad versus $28,000 for those with a high school diploma or less.
That's correct. So just on a rate of return basis to the individual, college pays, and the salaries represent value. So there's more value in the marketplace.
And when we return, what do research funding and financial aid funding have in common? Well, my guest says a university can't compete and thrive without both. We're going to have details right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by the National Mining Association, Las Vegas Sands Corporation, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, Caesars Entertainment, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Station Casinos, Boyd Gaming Corporation, the Rogich Communications Group, and Jim Marsh Automotive.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only Washington, D.C. based statewide show. But for more federal news that matters to Nevada, you need to read our Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today. Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce is able to link Nevadans to Capitol Hill thanks to the fine companies and organizations that support us. For sponsorship information, please visit joycecommunications.com. Thanks for watching and supporting Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our look at top issues facing higher education and what's needed from Capitol Hill to help strengthen Nevada's and this nation's higher education system. My guest today is Dr. Marc Johnson, the president of the University of Nevada, Reno. In the wake of the Great Recession, universities have had to do a lot more with a lot less. While funding went down, enrollment went up, and top education leaders like Dr. Johnson are simultaneously focusing on providing a curriculum that helps students attain degrees that lead to the best jobs and working to ensure that students from all economic backgrounds have the same chance for a promising tomorrow. He says both dilemmas have the same big answer, and that's a big federal focus on funding, specifically congressional support of competitive research funding pools for everything from new technologies to cybersecurity to renewable energy to health sciences to STEM courses and more, and continued congressional support of financial aid that makes the path to a degree truly accessible to all. Pell Grants and other federal programs which help first-generation, low-income, and underrepresented individuals seeking the means to get into college. So, Dr. Johnson, I want to start with that latter because, advancing programs, research into the future, that's all exciting. But first, you want to make sure that certain people from all income levels have the same opportunities to take advantage of those exciting developments, don't you?
We certainly do. We at the University of Nevada, Reno, focus on not only bringing in the best prepared and giving them a great experience. We're a national merit sponsoring institution. We have rapid growth in our presidential and national merit scholars. But at the same time, we're an access institution. We want to serve the the underrepresented students, the low income, and the first generation students. Because by getting these individuals through college, it will change the entire trajectory of their families forever. Because college graduates, even first generation college graduates, their children will go to school as well.
So we have Pell Grants, more affordable student loans, we have TRIO scholars, Upward Bound. Tell us about some of the things available for maybe some of those who are saying, I wish I could get into college, but I don't have the means.
Well, one of our biggest tasks is to show first generation and low income students that they belong in college. They have to be shown that they do belong in college, they have the confidence that they can succeed there, and we need to give them a lot of financial assistance so that they can afford to be there. And federal investments, and it's not expenditure, it's not expenses for the federal government, it's investment in young people to get those people fully capacitated to participate in an expanding workforce.
You know, and in a time of still struggling budgets, I'm sure, you know, for all universities, what does the federal government really need to do to strengthen these and other federal aid programs?
Well, largely, we need to keep the funds flowing, and Pell Grants, for example, and some of the programs like the TRIO programs with Upward Bound and underrepresented support, support for underrepresented groups, first generation and low income. Those programs have been cut in the budget during these last few years, and if we just keep those programs viable, we can handle support for a number of students. At the University of Nevada, Reno, we will take a Pell individual and give them a PAC Advantage scholarship and that pays for their registration fees, mandatory fees, and books. And that's our commitment to helping low-income first-generation students participate in college.
And some of the things they get to participate in, you know, research are your favorite, I'm sure, and hot topic. You know, to be truly competitive, a university really needs to offer courses and programs to address what you've called the issues of our time. Tell us about that.
Yes, the issues of our time include expanding the research capability of the university to do several things. First of all, these undergraduate and graduate students get to participate in research. The more research that comes to Nevada, our students get to participate and be scholars. Secondly, it generates more income coming to the state with federal grants. It's part of the industry itself. The university is an industry. And finally, we create new ideas, work with businesses, and get some of these ideas commercialized, and it's a real advantage for economic development in the state.
You know, according to the recent issue of the publication Demos, it says that higher education cuts triggered by the recession have been worst in these three states, Arizona, California, and Nevada, in that order. And I know you've made some smart choices early on. You kind of cut out some ineffective programs and you help limit, which kind of help limit some of the funding cuts. But still, it hasn't been easy, and I know that you're very focused on some federal funding help regarding both research and financial aid. Isn't that true?
That's correct. When we were faced with a 35% reduction in our state funding budget, we just had to make choices. And I wouldn't call any of our programs ineffective, but we had to make choices between programs. So those that were the most effective
Right, I should say less effective.
In attracting students and doing research and communicating with the communities, we kept those programs at full capacity so that we could come out of this recession with a strong momentum.
Excellent. And when we return, my guest's big goals for you and our students of today and tomorrow, and they are aggressive. I'm going to have details for you next.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Now you can contact one of Nevada's U.S. Senators or House members through Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Just go to the mailbag page of joycecommunications.com. If we select your letter, Marilee will read it on the air.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals, too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
Want more federal news that affects Nevada, its businesses, and its residents? Then you need to subscribe to Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter, your sole source of online news direct from Washington, D.C. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
Every day, thousands of people in northern Nevada don't get enough to eat. 1 out of 5 children in northern Nevada go to bed hungry every night. But you can do something about it. Catholic Community Services of Northern Nevada has been providing help and creating hope in our community for more than 65 years. By donating food, time, or money, you can make a difference in a hungry person's life. When you make your generous donation to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, you're helping to fight the scourge of hunger in northern Nevada. In these tough economic times, now more than ever, we need to help those less fortunate. To find out how you can donate to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, call, click, or stop by, and together we can end hunger in northern Nevada.
Welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of federal news important to higher education in Nevada and nationally. We've been visiting with our very special guest, Dr. Marc Johnson, president of the University of Nevada, Reno. In mid-September, my guest delivered his annual State of the University address. He shared his aggressive goals for the future aimed at continuing and improving UNR's already strong national reputation. And it is strong. U.S. News & World Report magazine ranks UNR among its 200 top national universities in its most recent ranking, which is for 2013. With an eye on staying on that prestigious list, Dr. Johnson named these as his top focuses in that recent speech. Prepare to serve 22,000 students in projected enrollment by 2021, reduce the student-to-faculty ratio to 18:1, the aim here being to enhance student contact with faculty and enrich their learning experience, attain the Carnegie classification of, quote, research university very high, and bringing this all back to today's theme of today's show, serve as a key economic driver for the diversification of the regional economy. And Dr. Johnson, regarding that goal for serving the 22,000 students, you named the year 2021 as your target date, but I hear you might achieve that as soon as 2017. Tell my audience about some exciting news about the current rate of growth.
The exciting news is we're accelerating. Back in 2011, we projected about 2% per year growth, which had been our history. But last year we went up 3.2%, this time 6.2%, and actually the credit hours taught are up 9.5% this year over last. So we're really accelerating, and we anticipate we may now reach the 22,000 projected target by 2017.
Well, this kind of leads right into the next question then. You know, regarding that student-faculty ratio, you've said that this 18:1 target will help you restore the balance between teaching and research.
That's correct. It's very important for a residential college experience to have an education where there's a good relationship between faculty, mentors, and students. During the downturn, having had to lay off many of our faculty positions, our actual student-to-faculty ratio went up closer to 22:1 rather than 18:1.
What is it now?
We're still about 22:1 because of our great growth in number of students. So the whole idea, 18:1 is a target because that's about the average level of other four-year high-quality universities. So we want to get a better connection between students and faculty by getting that student-to-faculty ratio down.
Should outstanding professors be getting their resumes out your way?
Yes, they should be sending us their resumes because we actually have a financial plan to hire more faculty. We just let out 43 new faculty positions, most of them tenure track positions, and the University of Nevada, Reno is a great place to be. So what we focus on at the University of Nevada, Reno is a remarkable experiential learning experience where the students actually not only learn material, but they put material to work through activity, and they gain confidence in their ability to use their knowledge.
That Carnegie ranking, how close is UNR to that very high goal?
We have looked at nearby universities like the University of New Mexico, Oregon, Arizona, and Utah, and we believe we will look very much like the University of New Mexico within 5 to 7 years.
And I think we should again drive home why research, it's not the only game in town for these days for universities, but it certainly is near the top of priorities. And to be competitive, to produce students who are truly competitive, prepared for the best, highest paying jobs, I mean, that's got to be another very big goal for UNR.
Certainly is. And all these goals fit together because if you have a vibrant research university, your undergraduate and graduate students will participate in research. They will be taught by professors who are actively involved in their professions. So teaching, research, it all goes together. And research also is a foundation for economic development by generating new ideas that attract businesses. And we certainly are attracting businesses. If you look at automotive companies like Tesla, like the unmanned autonomous systems, companies are actually coming to the university because of our research programs.
All right, thanks. And when we return, his work with the Nevada congressional delegation. How does Dr. Johnson work to influence federal efforts beneficial to Nevada higher education? We're going to ask him right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. Play responsibly.
We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org. The National Mining Association.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only Washington, D.C. based statewide show. But for more federal news that matters to Nevada, you need to read our Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter. Visit joycecommunications.com and subscribe today.
I got my own iPod Touch and use my dad's login to get on gambling sites. Poker is the best, but I'm losing a lot. Since I'm too young to play, they're not allowed to keep the money and my dad won't find out. That's right, isn't it?
Now you can contact one of Nevada's U.S. Senators or House members through Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. Just go to the mailbag page of joycecommunications.com. If we select your letter, Marilee will read it on the air.
What is HOPE? It's a community's commitment to stopping violence against women and children. The Shade Tree Shelter continues to keep its doors and hearts open 24 hours a day to offer help, healing, and hope to women and families in crisis. For more information, call 385-0072 or visit www.shadetree.org. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can help save lives.
are back with our closing segment of Eye on Washington. Dr. Johnson, how do you work? I know you're in Washington a few times a year. How do you work? And from home, I'm sure you are in touch with the offices as well. How do you work with the congressional delegation here to I don't know, influence legislation important to federal education and kind of keep up with what's happening on the Hill regarding higher education legislation?
Our congressional delegation has many, many decisions to make. So we come in to Washington, D.C. or visit with congressmen or their staffs in the state to keep them informed about what the university is doing and what the impact is of major decisions they make on research funding and student support funding. So if we keep them informed, they have recent examples of real high impact of government investments.
If you had to name the top federal need for UNR, my guess is that you're going to simply say more funding. But is there a subset? Is there a top area for that funding where you'd most like to see it channeled?
Well, I think we have to go back to both areas, really. It's very important that we look at government investments rather than just government expenditures. There's a lot of move in Washington these days just to cut back on taxes or cut back on expenditures. But if we can distinguish government expenditures for various things versus really solid government investments that have a long term result in the positive direction for economic development and human capital development, then our congressmen can differentiate higher education decisions from others.
As we end today's program, what would you most like my audience to remember from this higher education show? If there was just kind of a key point or two you could point out.
I would say the value of higher education is extremely valuable to both the individual and the state, and then an investment in higher education is an investment in people of the state and an investment in economic development for the state.
I want to thank you for being here today. I do want to say in full disclosure, I am a proud alum of the University of Nevada, Reno. Go Wolfpack. And that is it for this edition of Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. But we're always here for you, providing the latest news from the Hill that Nevadans need to know. Just go to our website, joycecommunications.com. Check out all the federal issues that impact Nevada. And while you're there, go to our mailbag page. Send me a letter for one of our delegation members. Maybe we'll read it on the air right here on our next show. You can like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Thanks for joining us today on Eye on Washington. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington, D.C. Have a good day today.